Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Broken Academy video where we're going to be looking at the best unit in each category. Now, you might have actually seen me do this 3 months ago, but a lot has changed and I'm going to basically do an updated version to see, what's different. And also, I think this is actually quite a fun thought exercise and it helps you think about, the strengths and weaknesses of some units. We got to define the judgment criteria for starters. Now, I'm going to be looking at, first of all, the overall effectiveness, so actually how good it is. That's going to weigh heavily on my decision. We're also going to be looking at, the bang for your buck, the price, the cost factor, how good it is, how, maneuverable things like that are as well. And ultimately, it's going to be about the X factor. No, not the show. The X factor being just, how cool it is, because that is something that, let's be real, does weigh on your mind. So without further ado, let's get started on the Recon tab and compare some units. Let's go. So just like last time, we're starting off with the Recon tab, and again, I think we need to break this down further. We need to break it down into fighting infantry, fighting recon infantry, snipers specifically, vehicles, and drones, because again, they're all very different and not very comparable. So when we look at snipers, I think it's a no-brainer. So there we go, there's that infantry tab selected. That basically, for snipers, you don't really care too much about their firepower. You just want them for their stealth, which is obviously 3 for all snipers. And basically for their cost, and I think the scout snipers kind of almost easily win this one. Basically there's 2 cheap snipers, the sniper, which means snipers in Russian, and the scout snipers. They're both 2 rifles, apart from this one's actually slightly better, arguably. But ultimately I just love the scout snipers. They're very versatile, very easy to use. If you do want to upgrade them for 90 points to give them a 50, it's really not a bad shout. This can also be upgraded again to give itself a 52, so not a bad squad. But ultimately, this has got a bit more armor, and that is where this squad wins out. So there we go, scout snipers are the way forward, and the winners of this category right there. Now when it comes to actual fighting recon infantry, I gotta say, I bloody love the pararescue. I should have also mentioned that I need to give an honorable mention to the ranger snipers, even though they're super spenny, expensive. The 284s can actually come in pretty clutch. It also means that for free stuff you get 2 bazookas, so you can actually get the squad into some pretty nasty positions behind the enemy lines and do a lot of damage. So yeah, great snipers there. But when it comes to fighting infantry, my god, do I love the pararescue in their CQB configuration. Special tactics work also super well. They're very versatile. They still keep their laser designator, by the way, fun fact there, and the stinger, the upgraded stinger that is. So yeah, very great selection of squads there. I will have to go for the pararescue in this configuration because I love the shotguns, and who doesn't love flashbangs? It's basically a budget Delta Force. But as always, we do have to give honorable mentions. Now, Spetsnaz VMF, my god, what a squad. This is actually probably one of the best fighting recon squads in the game. I mean, the machine gun is class. These 2 marksman rifles, mini snipers are fantastic as well. You don't want to upgrade them to this, I'll be honest. I mean, 250s is great, and if you have 2 squads, 450s is unbelievable, but it is a bit expensive. VDV Spetsnaz, another super honorable mention, because even though this is a 60.5 man squad, with this firepower, it can actually rip apart most frontline. This can take out airborne squads, no problem. Okay, not no problem, it will take a lot of damage of course, but basically no problem. The Burrs are fantastic with their thermobaric shells. These machine guns are the same, they're close range, you can fire them on the move. And these CQB rifles are rifles doing 3 damage because they're 7.62. However, one of the best and most versatile squads as well, which I'll give second place to. I do love the Spetsnaz and I do love the VMF, and I do love pararescue, but these guys with the double Verga configuration are actually one of the, I mean, to be honest, all of the loadouts are great and a bit expensive for this one. They're all great and fantastic, very good opening squad, and just very super versatile. I think when it comes to the overall recon fighting squad, whilst I do love all of these, and I also love the Punishers as well, and the Flash, not this one, but this is great too. I think the prize... Oh, by the way, Force Recon, another very... I mean, they're all pretty damn good. They are all really good. Green Ops, Black Ops... Also, I love Black Ops Call of Duty. Very cheap Razvedka squad as well. I mean, there's also so many great options. But ultimately, for me, it's between this and this. Again, you can get 2 squads for the same price of one of these. So actually, Spetsnaz VMF, not VMF, VDV, is going to take the crown on this one as one of the best, most versatile, and for the price, unbelievable squads for the Fighting Infantry tab. Now let us move on to vehicles. Recon vehicles are super cool. We've got quite a lot of options, and very different options for very different reasons. When we look at stuff like the Flyer, obviously it is a very... You do obviously want to put the 30mm on it. It is a very cheap vehicle, 55 points. You got the Strike RV, which when upgraded is unbelievably good. But it becomes quite expensive here. Tank, yeah, that's great. I'm not that interested, I'll be honest. I'd rather have a Wally and then a regular tank. You've also got these vehicles. They're just brilliant. The BRDM, surprisingly effective, especially when you put these guns on it for 60 points. It's actually kind of underrated. But ultimately, there can only be one winner. And you know what? Again, I love the Kozlik as well. It's such a hard choice. I love the Kozlik especially because when you want to just make it a suicide unit, i.e. throw a unit into the enemy's back line in the hopes that you might get something, but knowing that this guy is not going to make it home alive, the Kozlik does that job really beautifully. Another honorable mention is going to have to go to the BRM 3K, because when you upgrade this thing again and just send it on a suicide mission into the back lines for 155 points, it's a bit expensive, but you know it's going to do a lot more damage. Ultimately though, I think the Typhoon VDV with its 30mm cannon, allowing you to do the Lima special, is the absolute champion. The reason for that as well is especially that you can get 5 men into the back for 60 points. This is going to do a lot of damage. This can wipe out a lot of backline stuff and is ultimately such a great vehicle. For an extra few points, by the way, this is also a fantastic option, but the Typhoon VDV is just the GOAT. I mean, I absolutely love it. You might not agree with me, and that's fine, but this is my choice for the best recon vehicle in the game. Again, stick some Igla squads or ATGM squads in the back. You're going to have a lot of fun with this guy. But again, BTR is nice. This BTR is great, but unfortunately it lacks the seating capacity to make it as effective. So yeah, there we go. I mean, also for this to be super effective, by the way, you really do want to upgrade it. And whilst that is still a very fantastic vehicle, especially with this being allowing you to fire on the move, it just becomes a little bit too expensive for my taste. So I'd stick to this guy for the time being. Moving on, what was the last recon tab that I said? Well, it was, of course, the drones tab. And let's be honest, it is not even close for Russia. Russia doesn't really stand a chance. These drones, let's be real, are pathetic, and they're only really used for clearing out the back line. They are all super slow with a speed of 200. The American ones do much better in all departments. First, in terms of availability, there's 6 as opposed to 3. Oh, bit of a bug there. But ultimately, we all know that the Sentinel, with its ridiculous amount of stealth, is just beautiful. It's a great vehicle. It doesn't really get spotted. It keeps the map nicely lit up for you, nicely scouted, and it works super good. Obviously, a little bit expensive, and you know, these are good options. When you're clearing out back lines, by the way, you want the low altitude drones. So the slower, cheaper drones like these guys are better for clearing out your backline operations, but ultimately nothing compares to this stealthy, speedy, amazing bit of kit. So yeah, this one by far wins the prize for the best drone in the game. Alright, time for the general infantry. So not the special sneaky beaky guys, but the general infantry here. So what's this? These are the engineer Sturmoviki. Everybody knows them, everybody is bloody terrified of them. And when they have these thermobaric launchers, my god, do they pack a punch. For 75 points, this is a very good candidate. However, let's review some other options for the really mega good infantry. By the way, 10 armor, they have taken a hit with 1 less man, so their health has dropped to 35 from 40. but they're still a very fantastic option. You can get these boys out in the field, basically fighting any infantry squad. However, some guys can obviously beat it, and the contender that springs to mind is of course the Maroon Raiders, the Delta Force, which is down here. Again, beautiful in both editions. I mean, I love them in close quarters, but I think they're a bit expensive for just clearing buildings, so I prefer them in standoff. Again, Fletcher missiles are actually pretty decent, even against helicopters. You get these three beautiful, humongous 6.5mm machine guns, very good squad. You also do have to mention engineers, for example, for clearing buildings. That's a very cheap way to clear a building. You do also have to mention airborne, because let's be honest, the airborne is a fantastic squad. When you put them in the next gen weapons, they are just bloody damn good. They are so good and effective. They wipe out most squads. At range, by the way, not CQB of course. We do also have to mention the Chorne Birete. They have two fantastic configurations that give you really good AKs as well, and thermobaric stuff. So it depends on the mission, it depends on what you're after. If you're after long range, I think the Russians are going to win it with the SSO, aren't they? The SSO, again, beautiful at close range, but even better at standoff. These guys, if you want long range engagement, these guys are your men. 8 missiles that are just going to keep clapping infantry squads. I love the SSO, they are bloody damn fantastic, great all-rounders. For the price, the Sturmoviki are also absolutely mental, they are great. However, when we look at, again, an all-round squad, close range, long range, all those factors, can it be anyone other than, by the way, Marines are fantastic too, but can it be anyone other than the Delta Force? I don't think so. Deltas are just unbelievably great. They won it for me last time, and they're going to win it for me again. I really love that they've got, 12 men giving it 60 health as well. I know the armor's better when you put them in close quarters. By the way, here's another fun fact for you. The SSO keep 10 armor even when you put them at long range. So actually, I don't know, they're a very survivable squad. It's just the 8 men and the low health does let them down ever so slightly. Just a smidgen. So yeah, when it comes to the best infantry squad for fighting infantry, essentially, I am going to have to go with the Delta Force every time. They are a mega tanky squad and they just work great, but again, only at range. And my apologies, I actually forgot to give a special shout out to the Mark 47s. AHELs, that's automatic grenade launchers by the way, are fan-bloody-tastic. Not only against infantry, but also these ones specialize and excel at dealing with helicopters. I have had so much fun, so much luck with these guys, just throwing them into wood and watching, like, into helicopters' likely, path from spawn. And honestly, they do work absolute wonders. A lot of players get caught off guard and then they sort of panic, and by the time they react, it's usually too late and the helis get shot down. So mega special mention to these guys as well. Let's look at the next tab, which is going to be ATGMs. Now for this one, it's not even close. It's not even close at all. The squad that's going to win it is the weapon squad by a bloody mile. I mean, their competition from the Russia side is going to be the VDV Cornet, which is slightly cheaper at 90 points. That's 35 points difference. And it's got more range, but ultimately smoke or a bit of line of sight issues, and these things go absolutely mental and miss 9 times out of 10. So a little bit of inconvenience, and these guys are definitely going to miss. Javelins, however, with the terminal guidance fix especially, are bloody great. They are so goddamn good these days. Their terminal guidance is fantastic, and they just hit so reliably. So last time, again, it was between the Javelins and the Cornets, and I thought the Cornets were going to win because Javelins were a bit fickle back then. But now that they're amazing, there's no competition. The airborne weapon squad with the double Javelins is by far the ultimate winner in this category. Huzzah! And for our next category, it is the man-powered category. And I know what you're thinking. Last time, the Verba did not win it because he was on his own. In fact, I actually gave the prize to the double Stingers, which is again in the airborne tab. There we go, these Stingers are 1,800 meters. They hit fairly more reliably than the Iglas, I find, and they've got 1 extra damage. Now, unfortunately, that's where things get muddled, because obviously whilst this is a pure infantry squad and for 90 points it's pretty good, I don't think the competition comes close to, let's be real, the Spetsnaz GRU. Now, where the hell are they? There we are, Batman. Nice logo. When you stick double Verbers on these guys, I know it's 130 points, but my god, they more than make up for it. Firstly, you've got a 10 armor, that's huge. 8-man, very capable infantry squad. This squad is actually going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to win 1v1 against most infantry squads. However, the double Verbers just make it that much better. I mean, these are the best manpads in the game. You get 2 of them, and you know what, for 130 points, whilst that is expensive, I don't think anything comes close to these guys. They're just bloody brilliant. They are fantastic. Also, Verbers hit way more reliably than the Stinger. I found that. And when you look at things like, you know, obviously shooting at American helicopters versus shooting Russian ones, these guys do even better in that aspect, because we know that American helis are just a little bit thinner on the skin. So Spetsnaz GRU, whilst they are a recon fighting infantry squad, they actually fill the manpad AA role better than all the other specialized squads out there. So there we go. Spetsnaz GRU is the clear winner for me in this category. Now, a little disclaimer from me here. Maybe I should have split up the CQB and the, you know, general infantry squads and long-range infantry squads. Maybe I should have split that up, but that would have made the video too long and too much content in there. I mean, let's be honest, we all know that in the CQB, you want the Engineer Sturmoviki because they are absolutely beautiful, 3 rapid-firing shotguns and flashbangs. Also, for the price, you really can't complain. So yeah, if it was like that, I mean, I'm not going to go over the top into too much detail about every squad. That can be a separate video, but so far, this is how we're running it. So yeah, bear with the categories for me, because the next one is going to be the IFVs. So yeah, the IFVs are basically, I mean, they're kind of in the vehicles tab, they're kind of in the infantry tab, but we're strictly looking for the vehicles that can bring the infantry to the field. Last time we chose the Barbarous because, let's be honest, hands down, it is the tankiest, beefiest, meanest vehicle that can carry infantry on the battlefield. However, with the price nerf or buff, the price altercation, fix, whatever you want to call it, the Barbarous becomes a lot less attractive because ultimately that's a lot of points. That is the same price as a SEP V2 fully upgraded. So I don't know, for 300 points I think it was tolerable. For 350 you're kind of asking for a bit too much. So let's have a look at the other candidates that are out there. I should mention as well, by the way, the reason that I'm starting to avoid heavier vehicles like the BMP-3 is because armor is basically redundant with javelins, hellfires and stuff, top-down attack, missiles in general, becoming way more effective. You don't really care about the armor. Again, this is a lot of armor, but ultimately, yeah, it doesn't really matter because all the missiles are going to come on its top armor, which it can't really handle. Smoke is essentially, well, critical these days, so actually this vehicle is 50 points, still great for 50 points by the way. Yeah, so essentially you just want to smoke and run away. The speed is where that comes in, which is why I've gone for the faster vehicle option this time. Alright, let's have a look at the more serious fighting options, the armor, the tanks. So, we have quite a few options, and you might be thinking, he's looking at a Martyr, he's Russian bias, he's going to go for that. Absolutely not a chance. Just like last time, I don't want to go for these super expensive tanks because they are effective, of course they are. But ultimately, like we've said, top-down attack missiles are the thing that kills tanks these days. And yeah, you still got normal APS like any tank, and you're just a bullet magnet. You're asking, whenever you bring an Armato or SEP V3 upgraded out, you're asking it for it to be absolutely bombed to smithereens, and no amount of armor can survive that. So, what are the other options? Well, last time the T90 won it, because for this version, for 230 points, 30% ECM, which used to work way more reliably against terminal guidance munitions as well. This was super survivable. It was a fantastic vehicle. However, ECM doesn't really work against javelins anymore. It does under certain conditions, like if the squad's panics, etc. It can save your skin, but last time, before the update, before 1.011, it used to be the case that the first missile would miss regardless if it was a javelin, a tow, or whatever missile. This is very comparable and similar to the which SEP is. It's the Marine SEP. Where is the Marines? I've overshot him. Here we go. So this guy, you could put a jammer on him. So the jammer on these still works because Russian missiles are semi-active. So the jammer still works and the first missile will miss. For 220 points, this is a beautiful candidate, but let's be honest, you do want to stick a second 50 on it. So 240 points. It's a very, very good tank. And this is where America is going to be doing a lot better because Russia, in general, has less top attack missiles. Meaning that, in reality, American tanks are actually now more effective because Russian tanks are less effective with that logic in mind. However, this is what we got to talk about. So let's be real, I absolutely love these tanks. I can't recommend them enough. 240 points is a lot of tank with a lot of guns for the money. I think this is a very, very strong candidate for one of the best tanks in game, especially for that price point. But it's not the one I'm going to choose. The one I'm actually going to choose is, again, not the T-72, which is, by the way, an honorable mention for being so goddamn cheap. This is also an amazing option for this noob tube. Again, only against infantry, not so much against tanks, but if you do shoot a tank in the side armor, this is still going to do a lot of damage. So you do want these guys out for 80 points in mass. So 130 points is great, but this is a bit of an underperformer. This is actually the guy I'd like to nominate for the best tank overall. Again, in terms of bang for your buck, and the other factors that we've talked about, the versatility, effectiveness, etc. But mainly the fire rate. This has got an autoloader, which means that shock doesn't affect it. 6 to 7 seconds, one of the fastest reload times of any tank. And when you're looking at stuff like American Bookers, Spam, etc., this is absolutely your go-to guy. This is actually cheaper than a Bookers at 155 points. And yeah, ultimately, this guy is absolutely one of my favorite tanks these days because, as we've established already, the front armor is paper thin, I know that, but it doesn't matter. All that matters these days is the top armor. So yeah, quantity is better. Quantity is better, and you want to smoke out 2 smokes, get lots of these tanks so you get more smokes to protect your tanks even more. Trust me on this one, it's a great option. What's also a great option is these two paired together. You've got one gun. Let's have a look at the very quick stats here. Not the best penetration, not the best stats whatsoever, but now you've got 2 guns, and 2 guns are definitely better than, well, 1. So there we go, you get these guys together, this guy in front to take their sort of hits and to smoke out, and this guy behind to provide some extra fire support. They are very, very lethal duo. And actually, PT-76 does okay with its HE rounds and stuff. It's just there for 30 points. It's really, really an amazing option for 30 points. Don't upgrade it, it's not worth it. Now to my Wally fanboys, I will include an ATGM vehicle category just this time, just for you Wally lovers. I mean, this is a cool vehicle just because of how it looks. I mean, Wally, right, okay. But seriously, let's have a look at some ATGM vehicles this time. Do not sleep on this super duper cheap tow. 45 points is a lot of tow for that price. It also fires against infantry, which is actually one of the main considerations these days. Yeah, firing against infantry is actually the best use of tow missiles, I would say. We do also have to look at, obviously, the striker, because it's got really good speed, but no, the tow wins for its price point by far in that category. We also have the Conkers, which people should not sleep on the Conkers. It is a very capable vehicle. Again, very good at firing against infantry, very good range. It is a great vehicle. But ultimately, I think people know what's coming. You might think it's the Chrysanthemum, because that is super cool, by the way. Firing at 2 separate targets at the same time. But ultimately, it has to be the Cornet, this one. I don't really... By the way, when you're looking against anti-tank stuff, this means you're going to get 4 missiles firing at a at 2 targets at the same time. 2 missiles per target. There we go. So if you're looking for an ATGM vehicle to deal damage against infantry, the TOW 2 absolutely wins. If you're looking at a vehicle to just keep spamming ATGMs at tanks, then this is absolutely your guy for the job. 1,600 meter range. It's a shame it's not the better one, which is this, and that has better optics too, by the way. But if you're just looking to spam missiles out, this is your go-to guy for that job. Support. Right, let's start with some support vehicles. So, support, let's go supply vehicles first. Russia's, whilst looking super tanky, this is the best looking transport vehicle. I mean, check it out. Damn, son. Beautiful sort of apocalypse style looking thing. Russia is definitely not going to win this category. I will give a quick little mention to the Kamaz just because I like it, but yeah, no, everything's slow, doesn't bring that much supply. I mean, this brings a huge amount of supply, of course, but it's so painfully slow. You'll be waiting a decade before your supplies reach the battlefield. America's got the best support. Support supply vehicles. Not even a competition. LSVR, very fast, very capable, very effective. I really love it. The Hamlet, similarly, is super duper great. It is a fantastic vehicle and can comfortably bring in 3 full squads. So 3 9-man squads with a ton of supply in the back. So yeah, great vehicle there as well. It is actually one of my favorites. Now, the only problem it isn't my absolute favorite is because this guy is. Now, again, there's no logical explanation to my answer, really. I just love these things more. They're so cool. I mean, again, look at the price difference is 10, and obviously we know that the Hammer can bring in way more stuff, way more supply, and the speed is, you know, basically the same. But I just love this thing. I don't know why. I don't ever put the armored upgrade on it. Never do I put actually machine guns or cannons on top of it. But ultimately, this thing is super cool. And I just like it. Logically speaking, right, the Hammer is by far the best vehicle for transport and supply in the game. But I love this. So this is the winner for me. Voila. Done. Bosh. So what's next? It is going to be artillery, which includes mortars, basically artillery of all types, includes MLRS too. Basically a bit of supporting fire for your frontline troops, and for taking out some backline stuff too. This is what won it last time, the Iron Thunder. Mighty, mighty machine. I do have a lot of time for it, and I do respect it a lot. It's really cool that all of its ammunition is laser guided, but actually, that's where we have a problem. All of its ammunition is laser guided only. And for that price, I wish I had some smokes and some, well, just some smokes in there. And some more ammo, because 23 rounds means these guys run dry very, very quickly. They're also pretty expensive. You do want the extra armor, but they're also pretty expensive. For 235 points, you do get a lot of bang, but it's not as much as other vehicles. By the way, I should give a very honorable mention. This is so underrated. It has laser guided shells, which by the way are pretty damn accurate. This in its stock capacity is also very good, and it has a lot of ammo. I highly recommend to use these guys in their stock, or at least give it a go. It's obviously a slow fire rate. There we go, there's the fire rate, 8 to 10 seconds. Aim time's the same, but it means that you've got 3 vehicles instead of 2, basically for a very similar price. So you've got more shells, and you still get your laser guided capacity. You also get your smoke and, yeah, more HE shells. So yeah, very good vehicle here. I think, let's be honest, Russia does it better. The coalition just does it better. So 225 points, the Iron Thunder was, what, 235 was it? Let me just double check that quickly. 235. So yeah, for a very similar price, this guy's got 52 shells and he's got smoke as well. You can, of course, upgrade him to give him only 300 meters extra range, but the laser-guided shells do make that worthwhile. So 260 versus 235, very, very similar price point. Apart from, again, the main difference is that you have so much more ammo that you got a smoke as well, by the way, which is really cool. The fire rate is the same. Actually, is it faster? 45 seconds, and what was the Iron Thunder again? 5 to 6, yeah, a faster fire rate, and a lot more versatility from this one vehicle. I would take the Coalition any day. Any day. It is a much better vehicle. But you know what? Again, whilst I think this is the most effective RT piece, it's not my favorite. Again, I know, so many contradictions here. So many contradictions. My actual favorite is the Tulpan, because this thing is absolutely mega. By the way, with 2 hits, 2 laser-guided big boy mortar shells, it can take it out tank. And the other amazing part about it is because it's a mortar, technically, its aim time is actually so much quicker, so 6 to 8 seconds, which really does give it a massive edge over the things like, you know, the Coalition and the Iron Thunder, which take double that just to even fire. So the much quicker fire rates and the humongous shell, which by the way can really one-shot a lot of light armored vehicles if you get the hit, 2-shot to tank easy with the laser guidance, and really devastate infantry for 140 points. This is the winner. This is the absolute winner for me. I love the Tulpans. I use them a lot. They're just super duper great these days. We do also have to give a super honorable mention to the Barrack, because is it an RT or is it AA? Actually, it's anti-infantry for me, because these guys do fire at infantry, 1,400 meter range at infantry and lightly armored vehicles. And you know what? My god, it actually works so well in that capacity. Obviously a javelin will shoot back, but maybe you'll take it out before it does. Again, 130 points. What an amazing option. Right, let's have a look at some AA. Let's be honest, we all know that the Panzer is the most effective AA, no question about it. When we look at the price though, that's where things get a bit tricky, because it is quite expensive as well. And if you do lose it because its armor is paper thin and it's got not that much health, you're in a bit of trouble. A Hellfire will one-shot a Tunguska, or Panzer in the Tunguska configuration, so that is a bit problematic. The way to counter that is by using the Panzer in this configuration. So still 250 points, you do lose the guns, which is a shame, but now you can survive 2 hits from a Hellfire, meaning you're more likely to get the Hellfire thrower, like the Apache, before it gets you. So there we go, that's also a really good option. This doesn't stop javelins whatsoever though, which is why I'm now leaning towards America. America has had 2 new toys. It's had the Slam Ram, basically buffed, amazingly buffed, for 140 points. This is actually my favorite AA these days, because these AMRAMs just absolutely do smack hard and they don't take shit. For 140 points you get loads of these guys out and they just work amazing. The Avengers, fantastic. There we go, upgrade it, you get a 50 as well. Amazing bit of kit, really capable. Obviously this has radar as well, so when you switch it on, your range gets boosted to like 2,800 meters, which makes this a fantastic. You've also got the Centurion, which is the latest toy in the arsenal for America. My god, my voice is starting to go. There's a lot of talking here, I apologize for that. It's an amazing vehicle. You can also put Hellfires in this guy. An amazing vehicle. America's got so many great shore-out options. It's just, I mean, you're spoiled for choice. You're spoiled for choice. I personally, big fan of the Slam Ram. I think it's great. You do actually want to use it in the 6 AIM-20s. Just because, well, you can use it in this option as well, but just because you get rid of the flares, which means that your missiles are not going to miss. When you ripple fire, I find that you just run out of ammo quicker and you miss a bit more, so there we go. It's really not worth it. Stick to the 6 AIM-20s. Let me go get some water and continue filming. Before I move on fully though, I just want to give an honourable mention to the PVADs. You stick 2 PVADs in front of 2 packs, radar on, no seeders getting through, and you're going to shoot down a lot of planes. Yeah, a lot of planes, intercept a lot of seed all game, especially if you use a pack 3 with all those beautiful missiles. The Birusa, or actually is it the Shilka with Strelets? My mistake. The Shilka, you upgrade it to the Birusa. Unfortunately, it just doesn't target anywhere near as well as the PVADs does. For some reason, it just misses. It doesn't intercept anywhere near as well as the PVADs, unfortunately. So yeah, this guy is not going to win that prize at all for me. So there we are. This is also a great vehicle, just for helping you hammer infantry. Alright, time to talk about the long-range air defense. Look at that ass. Damn. The S-300 was my favorite. Now, the reason for that is because it had a no radar range of 4.5 kilometers, which is huge. And actually, for 150 points, it's super cheap. You just keep these things, you know, coming out. They would reliably hit planes, especially at close range. You didn't need to switch radar on all game with these guys, and they would just work really well. I know a lot of people like to upgrade them, and that's absolutely fine, don't get me wrong, I respect that decision. Because 4 missiles just means you run dry a lot less often. However, the meta has changed. The meta has changed significantly. Terminal guidance is absolutely essential these days. So let me talk to you about the S350 instead. The S350 is a fantastic bit of kit. It is also pretty cool looking. I don't know, I think it looks kind of like a sports car, to be honest. Race car. Now, the reason we love this thing so much is because, firstly, terminal guidance, as we've established, 3,600 meters range, not the best, but if you keep it a bit closer to the front line, this is going to be doing very well. What we love is 2 missiles per target and multi-targeting. So you get 12 missiles here, and they do a pretty damn good job, I would say. On the American side, you've essentially got the PAC-3 MSE, which has got very similar capabilities. When we look at the speed of the missiles, they're the same. Apart from these, take up a bit less supply. Not really sure why that is, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Again, 2 missiles per target and 3 multi-targets. The only difference is that this has also got a reload time, so magazine of 12 and then it reloads. Wait, what does that mean? I'm not too sure. I think with its 12 magazine, it is just gonna fire and then rearm, just like this guy is. So there we go. What are the differences then? Well, the differences is actually in the HP, the speed as well, by the way, which is a useful. It is quite significant, especially off-road when you patrol it. You get higher health, a tiny bit more armor. And that higher health is important, by the way. So when ATGMs fire at your Patriots, etc., that health might make it survive a bit more. It also, for a very similar price tag, you can stick a 50 cal on it, which is really useful, you know, like if a sniper or some sneaky unit does try to get through the back line. I mean, when the price difference is 305, just for an extra 10 points, stick the 50 on it. It really won't hurt you to do so. So there we go. I really like the PAC-3 MSE. I think it is definitely a winner here. Yeah, there we go. There's 12 missiles. So yeah, it does all fire at the same time. And it's faster. The way you want to use both of these, by the way, is attack move. So close to the front line and attack move, which is why the extra health and the tiny bit of extra armor is also really important because, again, you want to keep these close to the front line in order to be able to shoot stuff down. The PAC-3, I mean, the PAC-3 is a bit ridiculous. It doesn't really add much. You've got 16 missiles, which are terminal guidance, and again, you get 2 missiles per target, only on the upgrade. But essentially, you've got the same issues with the slightly lower range, which is not ideal. You may as well stick to your PAC-3. One of the best units in game and one of the best AAs in game. If you can't use the PAC-3, fine. If you can't use the MSE, stick to the PAC-3 because again, terminal guidance is king. The PAC-2 is kind of obsolete these days, unfortunately, because again, unless you set it up with PVADs in front, just for that extra range with radar on always, you're not actually going to shoot down that much. The PAC-3 definitely does better in that aspect. So yeah, PAC-3s all the way, they are the best long-range AA in the game for sure. Okay, next category, helicopters. Last time I did not split helicopters up into attack, missile, and transport helicopters. This time I will be, because I think it's a pretty good thing to do actually. Transport helicopters. Alright, so this is the Mi-26, a beautiful heli capable of lifting a Chinook and actually small planes. It is, I mean, look at the length. You gotta appreciate the engineering. This is unbelievably good. In battle though, you're never going to use it because it's slow, a huge target, and yeah, just it's going to get shut down. There's no point, no ECM, you're not going to want it. You want a speedier, more nimble, yeah, better helicopter like this guy, to be honest. But you know, the Russians aren't really going to win this category, are they? The Americans are. So you've got a lot of options. You've got the Osprey, which is the fastest helicopter in the game. Very beautiful. I absolutely love it. You've also got the Chinook, a very capable helicopter with ECM. By the way, this one has more ECM over here, 15%, which is really good too. You can fit a slam ram into the back of these, or, you know, similar stuff like that, which work really, really well too. You've got the Black Hawk and you've got the Silent Hawk, which is amazing. So when it comes to a transport helicopter, to be honest, I'm not a fan of Silent Hawks because they are only infantry. I wish you could put supply in them, but obviously that ruins stealth because supply is usually underslung, by the way, not inside the compartment. So ultimately it breaks down to what you want to achieve. I think for the price, Ospreys are a bit expensive, to be honest. And to be honest, that's quite an easy one for me. That's why the Black Hawk definitely is going to win. It is very cool. It is great. However, there's one thing that you're forgetting out and missing. Firepower. This thing, for still a very competitive price, has got a lot of firepower. If you load it up like this, this is going to do a lot of damage. Like, by the way, so good amount of supply, good amount of seats in the back, but the amount of damage you can do is unbelievable. It's also, you know, not too badly armored. It's got decent health, and it has got ECM as well. Not as much as these guys, of course, but yeah, a very, very capable option as well. So, above all else, it is just super cool. It is so ugly, but it is such a super cool helicopter. Big door. Yeah, this is definitely the winner for me. It is the super coolest transport supply helicopter in the game, and oh my god, has a devastating amount of firepower that it can quickly, you know, drop the troops off, fire, retreat. Works great. Trust me on that one. Alright, okay, time to look at some ATGM carriers. So again, I mean, to be honest, this one's not even a quote. It's a nice and easy one for me. The Apache Guardian. If you just want missiles, Hellfires to keep raining down death onto your Russian tanks, this is the way forward. It's a no-brainer. Now, Lima missiles are great. Obviously, they were named after me. Just kidding, they weren't. But, I mean, this helicopter only gets, well, 8 of them. And they don't ripple fire that well. They run out of ammunition pretty quickly. For 25% ECM and, you know, an extra 50 points, I'd bring the Apache out any day. So the Guardian is absolutely the winner for me. But then the next category is, of course, the frontline attack helicopter. And you know what? There's a lot of honorable mentions. The meta's been changed up quite a lot. I actually really like the DAP. I know it's pretty feeble, but 25% ECM does go a long way. If you shoot a tank into the back with these guns, they are going to kill it, no problem. You still get Hellfires as well, which is nice. I honestly, I actually prefer to run the Chinooks like this as well. Sorry, the Apaches like this. You know what? For 10 points, you should stick the missile one. For 160 points, you can do a lot of damage. It's very survivable. It can get very deep. But for 170 points, you can actually do even more damage in this configuration. I know my voice is going again. I've been recording a lot. 185 points, this heli with its tanky armor, 25% ECM, is, let's be honest, everyone knew that the Alligator, Katran, whatever, the Alligator, KA-52 is absolutely the winner of this category. It's not even a question. When you can stick some Iglas on it as well, it becomes very super capable. Obviously, it goes without saying that the Killer Egg is super cool. Actually, really good with even just this base configuration. Obviously, so worth it for the price. You can stick anything you want on it. It's so bloody versatile. It's an amazing, absolutely amazing helicopter. It's a shame that its Hellfires aren't terminal guidance, because that would make them so much more better. But there we go. You can't have everything. I should mention that the Guardians, they're all terminal guidance, whereas the longbows, they are... Oh. Are they Apaches? Yeah, the Apaches aren't. But that's not a problem when you're firing a backline, arty, etc. You're going to kill it all anyway. I've been a fan of Hydras recently, just for cheap flanky runs. I also like Venoms. To be honest, I love all the helicopters, really. I actually even really rate these guys. Again, 130 points. It's a tanky helicopter. It can do some serious damage. If you get lots of these, by the way, it can fit 8 men in as well. So very capable attack helicopter. I do really enjoy using it too. But yeah, ultimately for me, this tanky machine is the thing that takes the crown for the frontline attack helicopter role. Alright guys, we're almost there. Almost there. Look, my voice is going and your ears are probably sick and tired of hearing me, but we're on to the last category, huzzah, which is the aircraft. And we're going to start off with transport aircraft. Now, I love the IL-76. I think it's super cool, and it features in, what, not GoldenEye or The World Is Not Enough, in one of the Bond films. Well, actually, you know, it's the Mir, or the Ukrainian super huge plane with 3 engines either side, but this is pretty close. Let's have a look at the transport options we have available. We've got the N72, pretty good, especially for its price. We've also got the C-17, where is she? Here she is, a very, very massive, very cool bird. I've been inside one of these, I really like it, I think it's super cool. I also want to give an honorable mention to the Harvest Hawk, because again, low altitude, pretty good. Hercs are super cool, by the way. Hercs are some of the coolest transport planes in the world, but obviously this Herc is even better. Actually, this one specifically, because it gets 20% ECM. With that ECM, it actually makes it super survivable, and it means that you are very likely to actually drop off your cargo before this thing gets shot down. This thing's pretty good for that too, but it does get a little bit expensive. I'd rather go for the MC-130. It's still a Herc. And let it do its job. It is a great plane. I really love to use it. Okay, next up is fighter, so a superiority fighter. Again, this really is a bit of a tricky one, because obviously when you think just all-round fighter, you're probably going to go for the F-22 Raptor. I do love it. I love it in real life, but in game it doesn't work quite as well. Obviously terminal guidance has received a buff. So when we look at the longer range missiles, there we go, 9 kilometer range, you're going to do pretty good with these things. They are very effective. They are great. However, again, this just doesn't work that well in game. It's also very expensive for 400 points, and its stuff is amazing. You can fire missiles without being seen. Again, if you put the longer range missiles, you've got 4 missiles that you can fire without even being seen, which is really impressive. However, very expensive, and like I said, isn't actually that effective in the game. The only way to use this is backline, low altitude, fire your missiles. Once it fires its missiles, by the way, it becomes a lot more discoverable, which doesn't help. I actually really am a big fan of the Su-35 in this configuration, so let me show you what you get. For 260 points, which is huge by the way, you get long-range terminal guidance missiles, which pack a punch, and you get R-77s, which also are pretty good long range and pack a punch. For 260 points, you get this guy in, afterburners out. 5% ECM does really help and does make it kind of survivable. It's not the best solution. There is no best fighter solution in my opinion in this game. But again, for the price, can you really complain? 260 versus 440. So basically, let's call it 200 point difference. I'd rather have 2 of these guys instead of one of these, I think. So yeah, I think this is going to have to take the crown, but really there is no ultimate fighter, I don't think. I really recommend doing this as well, because the Sparrows actually do work really well for 280 points. It's a very good cheap fighter too. Russia is also blessed with a super amazing fighter, the Su-27, because for its price, it really does pack a very serious good punch. You can have it in this setup. So basically it's firing 270 points by the way, but it's a very tanky fighter, sorry, it's a very brawly fighter that can go close range. Obviously it will get shot down, no doubt about it, but 4 missiles firing at the same time, it's just spitting out missiles. It does become very, very effective. You can actually make it even cheaper if you desire by doing this. There we go. So for 220 points, it's still pretty damn good. So yeah, highly recommend this guy as well. Let's take a quick look at Seed. The Prowler's going to win this, no doubt in my mind, but people like the CJ. People like the CJ for Seed, and I know why, because it's fast and, well, it's a bit of a surprise, but let's be honest, 4 missiles for 240 points. Keep this nice and far back, 10% ECM, win a bunga. These don't get shut down often. So yeah, this works really, really, really well. Here's the CJ. It does become a little bit expensive. There we go, let's put the cheapest option. 315 points, and I find people get a bit more ballsy with this guy. They put it in a bit deeper, woof, and ultimately I think they end up losing it, which is a shame. So yeah, also 5% ECM. Does have afterburners though, which is a bonus. The rush for Russian Seed, you've only got this guy. I don't really think it's a sensible option to be considered in the top 3. These missiles are good, but yeah, ultimately the Prowler does absolutely have to take the crown there. Strikecraft, right, so let's be honest, we know that the Su-34 is the best and one of the most beautiful planes in game, so it is one of the best for striking. You put seed missiles on it, which is great, making it super survivable, and you can have a huge selection of lots of different bombs. Obviously I prefer low drag, making it more survivable, but that's just me. The problem with it though is that it does get really rather expensive, which is a shame. For 370 points, it's not really too bad at all, although I don't know why you'd want to put long-range missiles on it. I really do not know. So there we go. Let's put it in the configuration that I like. So clusters, there we go. 460 points is a bit expensive. You don't necessarily need the ECM, but yeah, it does help a lot because you've only got 5%. So very, very good, very capable vehicle. However, very expensive. A very amazing budget alternative is actually this guy. So yeah, you still get your clusters, only 4 of them, but you get 5 fire bombs. You can actually set it up so you get more cluster bombs instead, but I like my fire bombs, so don't try to take those away from me. There we go. Here's the other option. You can either have 6 and 3 or 4 and 5, and this might pain a lot of you, but I'm actually going to go for the 4 and 5. I mean, that's 9 bombs, and this is 9 bombs too, but my god, do I love fire. I love fire. I love just making walls of fire with this thing. At low altitude, this works really well. It is very survivable and has got 10% ECM by default, which is really, really good. That is really something. Let's be honest again, we do know that the Strike Eagle and the Eagle 2 are fantastic too, but they get very expensive, and also I don't actually like the combination of bombs you can get. I really don't like that at all. Who needs 12 clusters? That's just, it's ridiculous. Strike Eagle 2 is good because you can do a lot of targets. You can get, what, 11 500 pounders on this guy. Wait, let's just see that quickly, shall we? Let's just double check and fact check ourselves. Yeah, there we go. 11 clusters. You can stick some harm on it as well. But look at that price tag. For all the price, for all the factors, the price, etc. considered, the Su-24 is by far my favorite strike aircraft in the game. Also, if you put a bit of a paint job on it, you get a shark. Pretty cool. Very cool also. But there we go. That's my favorite strike craft. So, what's that down here? Well, boys, it is a nuke. A cruise missile nuke. Look, yeah, when it comes to bombers, which is the final category, and you'll be relieved to stop listening to me, or maybe not, and if you're obviously not subscribed already, then subscribe and you get more videos like this coming up. I basically publish every day. Yeah, so bombers, you've got the Tu-160 with this humongous bomb, nuclear bomb. That is a cruise missile, meaning that this never ever dies. Whether the cruise missile makes it or not is a different question, but yeah, essentially, with this thing, this never dies, which is great. You can actually, I'm actually a big fan of putting these bombs on it, because for 500 points, there's 2 humongous bombs that if there's a cluster of enemies, they will absolutely wipe them out. It also works pretty good in, well, basically all the combinations. These bombs are really good as well, but only if you have multiple targets available. The Tu-142 has got lots of cruise missiles, but I don't actually rate it. It is very good for its price of 250 points. This used to be one of my favorite with its humongous cruise missiles, but they get intercepted way too easily these days, so it's not my favorite bomber anymore. On the American side, you've got the Lancer, which is capable of dropping a nuke as well as lots of bombs, but let's be honest, people just use it to spam out cruise missiles. 24 cruise missiles is pretty impressive. You've also got the B-2 bomber. Now, this, the B-52, how could I forget? B-52 is really fun. People use it for cruise missiles, but I use it for, well, carpet bombing. It's way more fun to do it this way, so yeah, I hope more people use these as carpet bombs, but it does get shot down, unfortunately, a bit too easy. Now, the B-2, obviously stealth, so it will deliver its payload no matter what it is. This works super well. 30,000, that's a 15,000 kilogram bomb, give or take, probably 14,000 kilogram bomb. These are huge. These work so damn well. They are huge bombs. For 600 points, pretty damn good. Again, you can use this for cruise missiles too. Here they are. You can use it for clusters. These clusters work way better these days. But ultimately, bombers, whilst this has got 20% ECM, and America does have an abundance of seeds, so it does make it pretty survivable. Yeah, this is my favorite bomber. It is very survivable, really cool, and, you know, super cool design and engineering anyway. But it's just, yeah, it's just phenomenal. I love these bombs on it. You can use whatever you want. I'm not bothered, but I just love this one. So there we go. This is the bomber for me. With this configuration, they have to be put on mini rail tracks. That's how massive they are. But yeah, it's a nice end to the video because this is an iconic, very beautiful aircraft. But ultimately, that is the end of the video. It's been a very quick overview to what the best and my favorite units in the game are. I hope you liked it. Please do leave a like and comment. It really does help me out. And also, please do let me know what you think, because people disagree, and that's fine. I like hearing people's different opinions. It's absolutely fine to disagree, as long as it's obviously done in a nice, polite, respectful manner, of course. But there we go. That's my list of units. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my voice, even though it was starting to get a bit sore. Bit of America, hoorah. But ultimately, there we go. This video is about having fun and looking at some of the coolest units in the game. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.